believe we are live. Just give me a moment, please, and I'll make sure everything is working fine and we'll get started. Everything seems to be good. That's what we like, when everything goes to plan and it's working. Hello and very good morning, afternoon or evening. It's 5 o'clock in the UK and a very warm welcome to today's YouTube live stream. My name is Uzair and I log in at the same time, same place every weekday and go through Google Ads, digital marketing, and try to answer any questions you may have with regards to your campaigns, Google Ads, or whatever you are struggling with or have a problem with. So the format of the sessions is very informal. I'll cover a certain topic every time, and then towards the end of the session I'll revert back to the comments box, which is on the right hand side of your video. So please enter any questions you may have. If you are watching this live, or if you are watching this as a recording, then put them in the comment below the video, and I endeavor to answer each and every question which is sent across. So today I'm going to be covering negative keywords with Google Ads. Negative keywords is one of the best ways to make your campaigns work better, improve your profitability, reduce wastage, and have a certain degree, or in fact quite a lot of control over your campaigns as to where and when your ads go through. The problem with negative keywords, well, there is no problems with the keywords as such, but the problems many people have, or advertisers have, using negative keywords is which type to use, when to use it, and how to use it. So hopefully today, by the end of this session, you will have a very clear picture of how to use negative keywords going forward. So let's go into our presentation. Okay, so let's start with how the negative keywords work. So what it does is it will let you exclude your search terms from your campaigns and help you to focus only on those keywords that are relevant and that matter to you. And it's great for targeting your campaigns, in fact laser targeting your campaigns, so that your ads are only put in front of those people who may be or are interested in your services, products, or business. So what this does, it allows you to, as I said earlier on, increase your profitability, because you are going to have a lot less wastage and lot less wasted budget. So when people don't keep clicking on your ads and they come to your website and then they bounce off, this is when the budgets are eaten up and utilized. The daily budget is consumed, your ads stop running, then you don't get much results out of Google Ads. So negative keywords, unlike the positive keywords, won't match for close variants or other expansions. Now this is quite important. So you got to understand how negative keywords work, because obviously the word negative is the complete opposite of positive, and they do behave in the same way as the positive, opposite way of the positive keywords. If you exclude a negative broad match keyword, let's say flowers, the ads won't be eligible when a user searches for red flowers. And I'm going to go into these match types very shortly. So how to, or where to use these negative keywords. So you can set them up at your account level, campaign level, ad group level. And one of the best ways to use negative keywords is to create an account level negative and keep putting those keywords or negative keywords in that list. Apply that negative list to all your campaigns. So how do you find these negative keywords? So the way to do this is to go into your search query report, see what is uh, which search queries are getting impressions, clicks, and if you're not getting the performance. And what I mean by performance is if you're not getting conversions, or you may be getting conversions but they are at a very high cost per acquisition. So then you can start taking those search queries and keep adding them to your account level negative keyword list. The good thing about having a negative keyword list is once you've applied to all your campaigns, then as you keep adding to it, it applies to all your campaigns. So you don't have to go into each campaign or ad group and keep adding them, because that's a very tedious process unless you have got some kind of automation and some kind of strategy where you are sculpting the traffic from ad group to ad group and you are putting negative keywords at ad group level, which we do quite often, because we have the ad group structure of broad modified keyword and exact match keyword. So we want to find that exact match search query to go into our exact match ad group, the ones with the exact match ad group keywords. So we keep adding those as exact negatives to our broad modified ad group. So when you do create a new campaign, all you need to do is to make sure once in a while you have a recurring task to check that all the campaigns have been applied to the account level negative keyword list. And then you don't need to worry about adding these negatives to all these campaigns. So let's talk about the types of negatives. So just like your normal keywords, you can broad match, negative keyword, phrase match, and an exact match. What you don't have is the broad modified. You don't have broad modified negative keywords. So now when you are using negative keywords, as I said earlier on, they pretty much work the opposite way. So if you were using exact match keywords, Google will show for misspellings or plural or close variants, but in negative keywords they won't. So what you need to do is to make sure that you have all of these bases covered. So if you want to add a negative keyword and that keyword has got let's say people quite often will misspell that keyword or search term, I should say, then you put in that misspellings, because you will see that in the search term query report, if it's a misspelling or plural or synonyms or any other close variations, you have to keep adding them in as a negative keyword, and not just set up one negative keyword hoping or thinking that all of these variations will be excluded, because Google will not do that. So you may find that I have put in this keyword, but why is it still showing ads for the misspellings or the plural version? It's because you got to add those in, and this is a little, it's not a trick, but it's a pro tip where you add all the variations in your account level negative list if you are using that. So let's go through the match types. And I'm quite often asked and send questions of which mesh type should I use as for negative keywords, or which is the best one. Well, it really depends on how you are running your campaign, obviously. So I'm going to go through all three of them, and then you'll get a better idea as to which one you two should be using. And you can use a combination of all three mesh, negative keyword mesh types as well. No hard and fast rule that you got to use just one type. So let's start with the broad negatives. So let's say the search query is running shoes. So the search term, if somebody puts in blue tennis shoes, the ad will show. Running shoe, it will show. Now see, this is a plural, this is a singular, so it is going to trigger that ad. So you need to put running shoe as a negative keyword as well. But what it will not show through will be blue running shoes, shoes running, or running. So this is how you this is how the broad negative keywords work. The phrase negatives will be in the same quotation marks like you have in the positive keywords, positive phrase match keyword. So you put in the word running shoes. So somebody puts in blue tennis shoes as a search term, could show an ad. Running shoe, yes. Blue running shoes, no. Running shoe, oh, beg your pardon, shoes running. It could possibly show. Running shoes, no, because it's going to get blocked. And blue running shoes, because there is a typo or misspelling, because there should be a space, so that's why it will this will not block this search term running your ads. So the only two which will stop your ads from running is this one, because this is a phrase match, or running shoes. So those of you who are not sure about phrase match, is you can have a word before or after, but not in between the word, the phrase which you are using. So over here we've got the word blue before. So let's say if we had something like over here, running shoes cheap, then that would be classified as a phrase match negative over here, and it will block it. But over here, because of the misspelling and there's no space, it is Google is considering this as one word and not two words, even though it is a close variant. Exact negatives, same thing. You have the square brackets before and after for negative keyword. So if somebody puts in blue tennis shoes, your ad will show through. Running shoe, it will through. Blue running shoes, yes. Running shoe, shoes running, yes. Running shoes, because that is the exact negative here which you are putting in. It will stop that keyword. So use exact negative keywords extremely wisely, because as you can see that out of all the three match types, you got only one which is blocking that search query, and the rest of them are all potentially can and will show your ads. So you can use exact match in certain ways. If I tend not to use exact match if it's more than 3 or 4 words, because there could be a lot of variations of that search term. So maybe 2, if you want to, you can use it, or phrase match is a good way to keep putting them in, because anytime it appears on that search query, it will stop your ads. Now, there is no broad modified negative keywords, no such thing as that. So I have seen in certain accounts, unfortunately, where people have got confused, but Google will completely ignore that. So don't even bother putting those as broad modified. Ignored symbols, like you can add periods, but it will be ignored. So you don't need to worry about that. So something like Fifth Avenue full stop or and Fifth Avenue are considered identical negatives. So periods don't have any effect in negative. As I said, don't add a plus symbol. So if it's a plus rat plus cap, won't have any effect. Google will ignore this, and there is no such thing as a broad match modified negative keyword. Then we move on to invalid symbols. So these are the kind of symbols which I have seen being used, but it won't have any effect. These will not be taken into account, and these are what we call invalid symbols. When you try and put them in, you'll get an error. So the conclusion is you need to use them very wisely and carefully. Uh, you got to, I mean, I consider negative keywords as my best friends in Google Ads because it will help me save money, make money, increase my profit, reduce wastage, increase my conversion rates, and decrease my cost per conversion. So you got to use them carefully though, because adding too many of them will cut down and narrow down your traffic quite a lot. But if that's your goal, to really go after a certain set of keywords, then by all means, absolutely add as many as you like. It does not cost you anything extra to use them either. So always remember, negative keywords do not match to close variants. So add them all. And no such thing as a negative BMM. And I consider them as my best friend and my most favorite keywords because they do. The campaigns work wonderfully well. They get optimized regularly. When we optimize them regularly, depending on how small or the big the account is. If you are getting a ton of search queries every day, then you got to be in the account every day looking at those search queries. But if it's a small account, you can quite easily do these once a week or maybe once every 2 weeks. Add those negatives in, and then you're done and dusted. So this is how you use negative keywords. Now I'm going to go to the comment box now. Now is your chance to send any questions you may have, and I'll try my best to answer them for you. Okay. What we've got. Hari Haran. How far we can make the cross negative more effective and how to reduce the time constraint taken for the cross negative. So I'm not sure what you mean by time constraint. Once those negative keywords are in your account or in that negative keyword list, they will stay there forever. So there is no such thing as expiry date for negative keywords. For broad negatives, when you add running shoes as a negative keyword, you won't get the ads when a user types either one of the keywords. If it's no, you need to have, it will be both, because you're running, as I said to you, um, it, it needs to be a kind of like both the keywords needs to be on there, otherwise Google will ignore close variants. And I would not just put in shoes because that's too broad a negative keyword. Everything will get blocked out, so you will not get any traffic at all for that. Amish, hi Amish, you're most welcome. Thanks for being here. Which campaign is the best performing one? Google Search Standard or Search Dynamic Ads? The dynamic search ads also work really well uh, in the sense that every day almost 15 to 20% of searches are new or brand new. Google does not have them in their database because more and more people are using voice search, and this is what we want to capture. The DSAs or the dynamic search ads work wonderfully well, going after those new search queries and bringing them in so we can find some really good ones. The other good thing about the DSA campaigns is you don't need to worry about the keywords. You just put in your ads. In fact, the ads also Google makes it. You just put in the 2 description lines and you're pretty much good to go, and it will work. So you got to run it, try it, and see what happens. It does work wonderfully well in conjunction with the search campaign. Mike, yeah, you're most welcome. Thanks for being here. Dipesh, if we are using exact keywords, do we need to add negative keywords? Yes, absolutely. Negative, you will find that Google will still trigger your ad for close variants. Exact match keywords are not exact anymore. So you will find in your search term queries that there are other search queries which are driving or showing your ads, and this is why you will find that you need to add negative keywords. Negative keywords is your insurance policy. Why wouldn't you use it? Just as a safeguarding that Google does not show you ads for any search queries which you don't want to show. So put them in. They sit in your account. It doesn't cost you anything, so you might as well use them. But having said that, if you're just using exact match keywords, although your targeting is very tight, and you will get less irrelevant search terms triggering your ads, but still I would always use negative keywords. Hariharan, cross negatives are nothing but when you have a BMM campaigns and an exact campaigns. So when you add negatives, you have to watch keenly on the campaigns or a cross check. Yes, absolutely. You don't block out the ad groups. So you just need to keep a very close eye on it. Okay, Hariharan, you handle a larger accounts. You will find it a bit tricky one as well as the time consuming one on cross negatives. How to overcome this? Yes, this is something which you need to take into account because there will be a lot of negatives in the opposite ad groups of the in the BMM. We have automations. If you need to learn and you want to set up your account, we can help you do that. There will be a fee for that. It won't be for free, obviously, but it will do all the heavy lifting for you, so you don't need to worry about it. So we have very big accounts and it works seamlessly. Okay, brilliant. I think I've covered pretty much everything. So thank you guys and girls for being here. So I'll be back here tomorrow, same place, same time at 5 o'clock. If you haven't subscribed or hit the like button, then please do so. It'll be much appreciated. So I know it's a very hot day, especially in the UK over here. So those of you who are from here, thanks for joining in, and I shall hopefully see you tomorrow, same place, same time. So till then, stay safe and goodbye.